You ever wonder what makes a villain truly unforgettable? I'm not talking about the jump scares, but the ones that crawl into your head and just live there, long after the credits roll. What's that secret ingredient that turns a character into a genuine, lingering dread? Well, today, we're going to dissect the anatomy of fear itself.
Shakespeare wrote that line over 400 years ago, and you know what? It has never felt more true. It just sets the perfect stage for our whole discussion. If the devils really are walking among us, what do they actually look like? And more importantly, what makes them tick?
Okay, so before we can even get to the villain, we've got to talk about their hunting ground. Because some of the oldest, deepest fears we have, they're not about a person at all. They're about the places they come from.
This idea is really at the heart of a genre called folk horror. It basically suggests that our modern world, with all our phones and science and rules, is just this paper-thin sheet of ice over a deep, dark lake of something ancient, something primal. And that all our progress is maybe just a little bit naive.
And get this, these aren't just spooky names some writer cooked up. These are real places from a real county in England. They are literal scars on the landscape, reminders of some grim, long-forgotten history. It's like the dark past is written right onto the map. The sense of dread is already baked in before a single character ever steps on stage.
So, if the land itself can be haunted, what about the people who walk on it? Let's switch gears a bit, from the feeling of fear to the actual mechanics of it. What are the parts that you assemble to create a truly terrifying antagonist?
And this question, which I saw in an online discussion, it just hits the nail on the head. We all get why a giant monster is scary, right? But the fear that really lasts, the stuff that keeps you up at night, that comes from a completely different kind of power, something purely psychological.
See, the thing is, true intimidation isn't about brute force. It's not about being the biggest guy in the room. It's the quiet power to absolutely ruin someone's life without lifting a finger. It's an intellect that's always 3 steps ahead of you and a terrifying unpredictability that makes you feel like you're walking on eggshells. It's a complete lack of a moral line, which makes everything the hero does feel, well, totally pointless.
And then you've got this final, chilling ingredient. Sadism. This is what really makes a villain's blood run cold. For most bad guys, cruelty is a tool, right? It's a means to an end. But for a sadist, the cruelty is the end. They don't cause pain to get what they want. The pain is what they want.
All right, so let's take all these pieces and put them together. Let's look at a case study, a perfect one actually. One of the most enduring and terrifying villains in modern literature, who happens to embody every single one of these traits.
Listen to how Stephen King introduces this character. He doesn't start with some evil act. He just starts with his face, a hatefully happy man. Just sit with that contradiction for a second. A horrible, handsome warmth. His mere presence is so chaotic it can make glasses shatter or turn a simple argument over baseball into a bloodbath.
So, who is this guy? His name is Randall Flagg, but he also goes by the Walking Dude, the Dark Man, the Ageless Stranger. The names themselves tell you he's not just a man, he's something more. A timeless, supernatural force of chaos.
And its reach is just staggering. Look at this. This isn't just a one-off baddie in a single book. He is a thread of pure evil that is woven throughout Stephen King's entire universe. He shows up under all these different names, always working, always trying to bring everything crashing down. He's less of a character and more like a recurring nightmare. And that's the thing about Flagg, right? You can't quite pin him down. And that brings us right back to this core idea. His power, just like that folk horror we started with, is all rooted in ambiguity. It taps into the idea that the scariest things are the ones we can't fully understand or define.
And that's the question that really gets under your skin, isn't it? That strange feeling you have. Is it a real warning about some supernatural evil out there, or is it just your own mind playing tricks on you? The best horror lives in that blurry, uncomfortable space where you just can't be sure.
Think about one of the shortest, most famous horror stories ever written. It's just those 2 sentences. Its power is entirely in the implication, that one impossible event that just forces you to question everything you thought you knew.
Or how about this one from Neil Gaiman? It's terrifying for the exact same reason. It doesn't describe some gruesome monster. It just reveals a psychology so twisted, so casually cruel, that your own mind has to fill in the horrifying blanks. That casualness? That's the real monster.
Okay, so we've looked at the haunted land, the villain himself, and the whole psychology behind the fear. So for this last part, let's zoom all the way out and look at the actual blueprint. How are these nightmares really built?
And this brings me to this really fascinating idea I came across in an architectural thesis about storytelling. It basically says that writers and creators aren't just telling you a story, they're architects. They are literally designing and building an emotional experience for you to walk through, room by room, corridor by corridor.
So take a look at these two maps here. The map on the left, that's an open world. You can go anywhere, do anything. It's all about possibility. But look at the map on the right. That's the story. It shows the specific paths the author is forcing you to take to create a very specific emotional journey. It's a curated, guided path straight into dread.
What this really shows us is that great horror is never random. It's a trap. Every plot twist is a planned turn, and every choice you think you have just leads you down another pre-designed hallway in a house built specifically to haunt you. The terror you feel is absolutely by design.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of unsettling thought to chew on. We've just seen how meticulously a storyteller can build an architecture of fear in a fictional story. But what about the nonfiction stories we run into every single day? The narratives that actually shape our world? Who are their architects, and what emotional journeys have they designed for us?